Hi everyone, welcome back to Babbling Irons. Sloth, we're announcing our first signing of the window. Maybe not in the position everyone thought we would, but it's a very opportunistic move, a very smart move, I think. We are signing El Hadj Malik Diouf, not El Hadj Diouf, if you're getting slightly concerned. But we are signing the Senegalese left wing back, left winger, wherever you want to put him on that left flank, he seems to be able to play. I think this is a good and exciting move for West Ham. But what's your take on this, Sloth? What are your initial thoughts before we kind of delve into our the data and how we think he can work within West Ham?
I'm really happy with it. I think there's a lot of criticism over the price, particularly around that £20 million mark. I know people aren't used to West Ham in particular paying that much money for a wing back, but I think it's a really smart move. I think he's someone who not only gives us a lot of options, but gives you exactly what West Ham fans have been crying out for, in the sense of a bit of physicality, pace, and youth, but also an engine. And I'm really happy with this signing. I think he's someone that we know there was a lot of interest in from Palace in January, and
At Liverpool
we've
as
made
well.
yeah.
To be fair, no, wasn't made on Carecares since, but he was attracting the likes of Liverpool as well. So
there's
drawing some attention.
Obviously a very talented young player there, and I think that this is going to be something that Potter and Macaulay will probably look to try and introduce. Like, I'm not saying that every single one of these signings is going to be a star or £20 million, but I think us looking towards different markets, and this market has worked for us before, there's no reason it can't work again, but say wider afield, players who've taken a route into Europe in a slightly different way might be ones that we start to look at more. And I think when there's the right profile of player, something that I've been refreshed, I suppose, or kind of happy to see this window.
It's something you've been screaming out for, isn't it? For ever since we've done this, we've been saying this is the type of signings we want to see. So
there's a profile that seems to be being chased, as opposed to what agent deal can we get?
Mm-hmm. That absolutely. So let's dig into the data. There are going to be some things in that data people are going to not like, but we're going to kind of talk us to some of the nuance that is missed in data. I think that's the important thing. Whenever we like to use data, we use data a lot, but I think it's key when we look at this. It's fair that you understand that what this data actually represents. It's not necessarily red, bad, green, good necessarily, but what it kind of does point more towards. If you look at it in terms of what this means in terms of style, or the particular style that he's played whilst been at Slavia, I think it then gives you a better understanding of what these statistics are really saying around him. And, we look at the defensive statistics of duels per 90 and overall defensive actions, they're very low. But then when you consider that with the fact that he plays for Slavia, they are a dominant club in the league. He plays at left wing back. He plays in an advanced role. He has less defending to do. So by rights, he's going to have far less defensive duels than many left backs or left wing backs, because of the sheer dominance that he has in the league he plays in. And also these statistics are mapped against the other 13, 14 leagues that are in Europe outside the top 5. So it's a very big database that we're pulling from with this as well. But the little ones that I do like is the possession adjusting interceptions, which does show that he does have, defensively, he does have a mind in which to step in at the right time to make those kind of, wins. But obviously, the big draw is what he can do aerially. He's very strong in the air, but what he can do in possession, which is obviously very key. We've always seen with Potter, he likes marauding, very forward-thinking wing backs. We've seen that with Trossard. I'm going to butcher his name, but Purvis
Estupinian.
It's been, I can't even get my words out. I don't feel great, so you'd have to ignore my pronunciation today. Cucurella, and also you had Sully March on the other side, but he's always had this really forward-thinking kind of wing back, left back, however you want to frame it. But essentially, he's a very good ball carrier. He's very good with his crossing, very incisive, very decisive with those passes. And when you kind of translate that to, well, what does that mean in terms of his overall percentiles? You can see when we look at the possession side, very far across, in terms of the final third, so deep completions, deep completed crosses and crosses. So those deep completions are on the edge of the 18-yard area, essentially making those passes or crosses in that position, well above the 80th percentile, 92nd percentile for deep completed, and crosses at 95%. Sorry, in the top 95%. It's incredible, really, the regularities getting in those positions and getting crosses into the box. And if we're going to be playing Fulcrum a lot more, who's obviously getting a lot of talk, I do think we will get another striker. But by having someone that who is dependable, who can get down the flanks, can get into crossing positions and get crosses in with a high regularity, does mean that you can create uncertainty in an opposition defence. If you have the likes of Fulcrum, maybe another powerful centre forward, you've got midfielders who are able to get into the area, and then you have obviously the likes of Bowen and maybe who we're going to have as the new left-sided 10. You're going to create uncertainty in defences, which is what we want. And we want to be more attacking as a team. So I do praise the fact that the club have looked at that. They've obviously understood the defensive statistics aren't telling the entire story when it comes to Diouf, because of obviously the league he plays in and the sheer dominance. But even in the scatter graph, you can see when we look at for a player with key passes in his position, he's by far and away in the kind of top quadrant on that, as well as the deep completed crosses, etc. And I think the most important thing is comparing him to who we have. Now, obviously, we have Emerson, who has been a lot of the time, he's been a very strong player for us, but it's started to wane over the last kind of year to 18 months in many ways. Obviously, he has far more defensive duels, and that's just by virtue of how we've played this year. But it's the regularity in which he's winning is really quite below the average. Again, his ability to create in possession has also depreciated as well. He does get forward a lot in terms of crosses and interceptions, but we need someone who can do that with far more regularity, who maybe brings more of a threat. And El Hadj Malik Diouf has 7 goals this season in the league. He has 2 assists as well. If we can bring in a player who is willing to take those risks to get forward, to either finish an opportunity himself or to set up an opportunity, surely he's going to be far more suited to Potter. And with that in mind, Slav, it'd be great to kind of get your feel on Diouf as a player, and also how you think he maybe would work within Potter's system as well.
Yeah, well, I think obviously anyone who watched the recent England game when he was running rampant on that right-hand side, England's right-hand side, I think it really sums up how he plays. And Malik Diouf is someone that I think you can look at and go, he doesn't necessarily look like he should be good at football. And the way that I kind of explained this to someone the other day was,
you're saying he's all shoulders and no neck? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Think of Mohamed Diame and that sort of physical build. Someone who's incredibly strong, athletic, and good on the ball, but doesn't really move like they are. That's how I would kind of describe it. He's got a stance and a running style that suggests he's ready to clatter into you. And I think that's one of the things that he's going to give us on that left-hand side that we haven't had in a long time. It's the physicality combined with the pace. And when you look at someone like Malik Diouf's productivity in terms of just how many balls they're putting into the area and the distance they're covering as well. This is another thing about Malik Diouf, is the engine he's got is absolutely fantastic. And that's kind of one of the reasons that I compared him to Diame, is because when Diame was on it, he was brilliant for us and he would cover every blade of grass on the pitch. Maybe there was a fair few times where he wasn't on it for us. Malik Diouf isn't like that. He's always switched on, and he does make a couple of mistakes, but that's because he's asked to generally play higher up, and his pace will bail him out of that. I think with West Ham, obviously our centre-backs need a little bit of improvement. I think that's me being kind. But if we were to have, say, Kilman and Cresswell on that sort of left-hand middle side in those roles, then I think it would cover him really nicely. And it would be a case of, even if Kilman just jockeys someone, Malik Youth's got the pace to get back and cover, make a challenge. And I mentioned that physicality that he has. It translates into everything that he does, whether it's shielding the ball, whether it's turning and then being able to carry it as well. The speed with which that he has isn't Somerville level. He's not blisteringly quick, but he picks up a pace quickly and he stays at that pace, even if he's shoulder to shoulder with someone. He's incredibly hard to shake off the ball. And I think that when we're talking about him fitting into a system, what he gives you the versatility to do is he offers you the chance to change the system. If you wanted to go into a back four and maybe put Skulls there, you can put Juve at left wing, and he's going to give you excellent defensive covering because he plays that role and he knows how to help out. But also, as I mentioned, he's happy to cover the distance. So if Skulls was there, he'd happily drop back, pick the ball up off Skulls and blitz it down the wing. I think Malik Juve is someone that I've seen concerns about the price of, but when you factor in his age, the physical presence he already has, and I think that's something that's really important to stress, particularly with the Premier League.
We look at players. Price though, Sloth, it's around 17 to 18 million pounds.
Yeah.
The rest is made up in add-ons. Yes, there is potentially a significant, in terms of West Ham terms, sell-on clause, but also fair play to Slavia for renegotiating that. But it also tells you how confident Slavia are in this player. And I'll also put it this way: the last £18 million player we signed from Slavia hasn't worked out too badly for us. So I am very much in a comfortable position. And I don't think £20 million or £18 million in today's age is very much for a player anymore. I think the days of spending 10, 15 million pounds from a player from a lesser league are almost dead and buried, because teams know the money in the leagues that they're going to, but also they understand actually they have a commodity that is valued. And if it's valued by a team in a very rich league, then this is a player that team obviously thinks that they can make a significant profit on in the future, or a player that's going to take them maybe up a level. So I think that clubs have cottoned on a bit more, and they've started to be a bit more, aggressive in their negotiations, which I think is, it's fine. It's their player, it's their commodity. They need to get as much as they can for him.
I think when you look at the prices of fullbacks as well, I think they have been players who generally have been a little bit cheaper as well. You look at the impact of someone like Robertson at Liverpool, and you think, well, he was actually relatively cheap when you look back, but that was still £20 million 5-6 years ago, however many years ago it was now. Well, I've completely lost track of time, but I think that we're going to get used to this. We saw it with Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and when you look at the combination of what we probably had to pay agent fee wise, wages, these monetarily, they're probably not too far off each other. The big thing that this represents is, I think, a future sale. And I know people might roll their eyes when they go, oh, we want him to do well for West Ham. Well, yeah, I obviously want him to do well for West Ham. But the issue is that, say, for example, he does incredibly well for us, and he just scores lots of goals, creates lots of goals, looks solid. Realistically, if one of the big boys in Europe come calling, then we can't really keep a hold of him. And I'm sorry to say that, but there's a good chance he's put us in a European.
But the fact of the matter is, he would have doubled in value, allowed us to buy another player. We're not then, as we are now, going, well, what assets do we have to sell? We know we have essentially a line of talent that we could sell if needs be. And that's the whole point. This is why you buy these young players, is because for clubs like us, you have to do this kind of idea of, if I buy you now, what can you bring me in the future? It's not as it used to be. We've done this whole process of buying the players for now. We did that quite a lot under Moyes, in all fairness and all honesty, and it served us very well. Got us into Europe, have 3 fantastic years. We won a European trophy. came close on 2 other occasions to get to the Europa League final. But ultimately, it's now put us in a position where we are now, where we have no longevity in the squad. We have no succession plan, essentially, within that. And we're also looking around going, well, where's our assets to sell if in case we needed to generate funds? And this is the point of why me and you, for many of years, have screamed about sell on being a massive thing. It's a dirty word and everyone hates it. And everyone, I know people don't want the idea of you buy players to sell them, but this is what it's essentially. Football's a business. You have to work in some ways that cynical side of football. You have to be appreciative of that and work with that mindset of, if I buy this player for X, what is he going to give me in the future? And sometimes that's in marketing and so on, so forth like that, and where they pay off themselves. Others it is, I'm buying you now based on your potential and look thinking about what I could potentially sell you for in the future if you reach that viewed potential within our setup.
I think that's an important factor. But just to kind of go back to him on the pitch, I think that when you look at the fact that this is exactly the sort of profile we've been crying out for on this channel, but in general, I think most West Ham fans will agree that younger, fitter, faster, more physical players are what we have lacked for a long time. And someone with the work rate and also the fitness, you know, he's not injury prone. Touch wood. I've got to touch the nearest piece of wood around me.
I'm touching plenty. This is fine.
But I think that
that's another podcast. That one, Sloth.
there is definitely something to be said for this approach to the transfer window, and I'm really happy with this signing. I think he's going to be a player who really grows and thrives in this system, and hopefully, if we can sort out those central defenders, it's really going to push us forward, get us scoring a lot more goals this year.
And the last question I'll ask off, in your opinion, how do you see him linking with, say, a Somerville or say an inside 10 that we're probably going to look to get as well? How do you think he's going to work with a player that plays in that sort of role, that kind of inside 10 rather than an actual winger? How do you think he will meld with that kind of player?
The great thing about Juve is that he's more than happy to run with the ball. And while he is also a good pass with the ball, he's going to look to play it into the space. He's going to look to play it forwards or deliver the ball into the area. If you've got someone like Somerville in front of him, who is going to create space, is going to look to kind of cut inside or tuck out wide and hold the touchline and be an outlet for him, that's going to, again, create lots of opportunities for him to either cut inside and have a shot on his left foot or deliver. And I think that he's going to really thrive when he's got pacey, hardworking players around him. Someone like Somerville, who hopefully this season we will see a lot more of. And if we do, I think this will really get the best out of Juve. It will help him settle. And yeah, I really think he is an excellent option. And that combination would scare the life out of any opposition defence. The pace and power that they both possess, I think, would really make us a dangerous prospect.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it's an exciting signing. It's a right type of signing, something that the club have desperately needed for a long time. And I think the fee is probably roundabout fair. I think me and you actually said at one point we'd have paid more personally if it would have come to it. But I think this is a great capture for the club, exactly what we've needed. And it's a step in the right direction for what has otherwise been a slightly stagnant window and frustrating window to date. But let's have a bit of positivity. This is the first signing of hopefully many, because we need it. And this will be what helps us to solidify our position within the league as a, mid to kind of top 10 team. I think that's the aim personally this season, with a view to next year, because it is another rebuild. So we have to be sensible, I think, unfortunately. But this is a great signing, one that I'm really excited about. And as Sloth said, it's one that could really be a threat and a danger down that left-hand side, particularly working with the likes of Somerville to exploit space. So yeah, let us know what you think. Are you happy with the signing? Do you have problems with the fee? Do you have fears from coming from an unknown league coming into the Premier League? Let us know your thoughts. And one last thing to say, Sloth, and that is, come on, you
Irons.